Hello and welcome to TUTV News. I'm Alexander Denard.
And I'm William Bennett. We've got some good stories, so let's get started.
President Trump is facing backlash after declaring a national emergency to raise additional funding for a border wall. The declaration has divided Republicans as some fear that his actions could set a precedent for future congressional overreactions. Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin expressed fear when he spoke on NBC's Meet the Press, saying, quote, "I wish he wouldn't use it in the case of many of us are concerned," end quote. Trump has created more confusion and potential legal challenge by stating that he declared the emergency not out of necessity, but to facilitate quicker wall building. Congress is expected to look into the legality and viability of the move later this week.
The Mars rover Opportunity was finally declared dead on February 12th as NASA sent a final command to the machine. Opportunity has fallen silent on June 10, 2018, as the planet was hit with the historic dust storm. Its solar panels became coated with dust, preventing the rover from powering itself. As scientists expected, Opportunity did not respond, and project manager John Callis thanked the technicians of the Deep Space Network for their hard work and dedication. Opie had become part of the family for many scientists who worked hard with the robot, and tactical uplink lead Carrie Bean even tattooed the final sunlight measurement that Opie had relayed. Its final message to the team was, "My battery is low and it's getting dark."
Pope Francis will gather at the Vatican with bishops from around the world this week to host a summit about child sex abuse scandals that have affected the Catholic Church. The heads of the church will convene from Thursday to Sunday to create an action plan to fight pedophilia. The Pope also invited several of the victims of abuse to the Vatican to pray, calling the conference, quote, "an act of strong pastoral responsibility in the face of an urgent challenge in our time," end quote. Pope Francis has already defrocked former American Cardinal Theodore McCarrick for sexual abuse allegations. The Catholic Church has faced the problem for decades, particularly in Chile and the U.S. The Pope hopes that the conference will give the bishops a change in attitude and result in more concrete guidelines on how to handle future situations.
After a year of exposure to space, scientists are investigating the changes that have occurred in astronaut Scott Kelly's body compared to his twin brother, Mark, who remained on Earth. The two twins signed up to become a part of a study about the effect of space on humans. Upon return, Scott's immune system became hyperactive and changed the activity of some of his genes. Geneticist Christopher Mason describes the surprising results as if, quote, "the body is reacting to this environment sort of like you would a mysterious organism being inside you," end quote. He compares it to how the body would adapt to any change in an environment. While most functions returned to normal shortly after Kelly's return to Earth, his immune-related genes still retain their high alertness even 6 months later.
Tulsa will be represented again as the newest warship in the Navy's fleet. The newly commissioned USS Tulsa will head out under the Golden Gate Bridge next week after being formally commissioned on Saturday in San Francisco. Former mayor and ship sponsor Kathy Taylor spoke highly of the vessel, saying, quote, "the USS Tulsa is a ship that is truly worthy to carry the Tulsa name, the Tulsa spirit, and our heritage," end quote. Taylor was contacted in 2014 following the Navy's tradition of naming a woman as a ship sponsor, and she has seen the craft through since conception. Current Mayor G.T. Bynum praised the boat's resilience as representative of the city, citing Tulsan's commitment to the city in spite of the 1921 racial violence, floods, drought, and tornadoes.
Russian island town is being terrorized by polar bears. Novaya Zemlya, a quiet settlement of 2,000, is now involved in a turf war against dozens of the animals. Polar bears have been forced to migrate to the town as global warming has melted their homes. TASS, Russia's state news agency, reports that the animals are attempting to enter buildings and homes, as well as chasing residents and engaging in aggressive behavior. Many are afraid to leave their children at school and to leave their homes. Unfortunately, if Russian authorities cannot figure out another way to keep them from menacing the residents, they may have to be selectively slaughtered.
Bro, that's literally like the most Russian story I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
My town is getting plagued by bear. Is problem for us.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That is definitely a very Russian story.
Right? I mean, like, your grandpa had to like climb through snow both ways to get to school. They just have to fight bears to get to school, man. Like, what?
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, that's all we have for this week. I'm William Bennett.
And I'm Alexander Denard. We'll see y'all next week.